The only way to survive in a free-falling elevator. Okay, this is a fun topic. Hey, free-falling in a trapped small metal box sounds terrifying. Duh. Even the thought of such a grim situation gives us chills. And you probably wondered what you would do if the elevator cable suddenly snapped. Is it even possible to survive such a fall? Any volunteers? I don't see any hands. Well, today we answer these questions and share some recommendations from scientists and engineers about what you should and definitely shouldn't do if you find yourself in a falling elevator. Okay, brace yourself. Number 1. Don't jump. There's a widespread misconception that if you jump a moment before the elevator hits the bottom, you will somehow decrease the impact on your body. Firstly, how are you planning to understand when you should jump? You can't see through metal, can you? Secondly, even if you somehow manage to jump, which is extremely difficult due to being in a free fall, the speed decrease you can hope for is about 2 miles per hour or 3 kilometers per hour. It's definitely not enough to save your life. What is worse, you might hurt yourself badly if you hit the ceiling with your head. Jumping is not worth the risk at all. Mythbusters tested this approach. Believe us, it didn't end well for the dummy inside the elevator. The next thing not to do, don't stand up straight. Standing up straight and hoping for the best is also not the best idea. Nothing good is coming. What is coming is a weight 10 times larger than that of your own body dropping on your legs at the moment of impact. Now, with all due respect, neither you nor anyone else can survive that. So now that we're clear of what you should never do in a falling elevator, let's get to the best course of action. Number 1. Lie flat on the floor. Your best bet would be to lie flat on your back. This position will help you distribute the force of the impact across your entire body. Yes, your small thin bones will probably snap anyway, though it mostly depends on how high up you were when the cable snapped. But it might help you avoid more serious damage. Or not. Nobody is absolutely certain. It's probably pretty hard to think clearly in such a situation, but you should also remember to cover your head with your hands. When the elevator lands, it will most likely be destroyed, so protecting your head from debris might save your life. Or not. The problem with lying flat is, well, your brain. Like in a car accident, a sudden speed drop from, say, 60 miles per hour or 96 kilometers per hour to 0 can and will cause a severe brain concussion. Another issue is that when falling, you are weightless, so you'll have to hold yourself in order not to start flying. Yes, there are many downsides to this approach, but even considering all of them, experts agree that it's the only realistic way to save your life. Or not. You ever hear of Betty Lou Oliver? She worked as an elevator operator for the Empire State Building in New York City. She holds the world's record for surviving the longest elevator fall in history. She traveled 79 floors in a falling elevator and stayed alive. What saved her was 1,000 feet of cable that landed before the elevator did and smoothed out the fall. What's even more shocking, earlier that day, a plane crashed right into the floor Betty worked on. She survived that accident, although 14 of her colleagues didn't. We don't believe there are that many people who are so lucky. Of course, there are rumors that Betty went right out and bought a lottery ticket after that. On the bright side, no pun intended, elevator accidents happen extremely rarely. More people die when they step in empty shafts, or get stuck in between the elevator doors. So watch your step and don't hurry. You can always catch the next one. Also, some elevator shafts have special buffers that, in case of emergency, are supposed to make the landing smooth. Actually, the only surefire 100% way to survive in a free-falling elevator is… take the stairs. So here you are. You're standing on the subway escalator on your way up, engrossed in reading a book, and almost missed the step off. You keep your balance and make the first step, but not the second one. Something's tugging at your right foot. You turn around, and it's your worst nightmare. Your shoelace got stuck in the escalator. People start stumbling into you, and you lose your footing, falling flat on your behind. Several more people rush past, mumbling something angrily, but then you feel someone's hands under your armpits and you're hauled to your feet. The man who helped you pats you down and points at your right foot. Take it off, you can't save it. What, the foot? But then you realize he's talking about the sneaker. You quickly do as you're told, and finally you're free, minus a sneaker. Now let's get back to the escalator ride. Imagine you're sitting on the steps, never do that by the way, and wearing a loose shirt that's not tucked into your pants. You wait until the escalator starts getting flat, and only then stand up. Well, at least you try. When you do, you feel a powerful tug at your collar and lose your balance. The stairs have eaten the hem of your shirt and are quickly dragging you down. You try to break free, hear the fabric tearing, but realize you won't make it until someone hits the emergency stop button and the escalator halts, with you lying on your back and your hair inches from the gap between the steps. Okay, enough scares. Let's go take a look at why these things happen. An escalator is basically a belt driven by a set of chains. There are two sets of gears at the top and bottom of an escalator, and a chain is pulling those on either side. When gears rotate thanks to an electric motor, they move the chains. The steps are installed between those, each stair fixed at a set interval and moving along with the whole system. Since the chains go in a loop over the gears, the stairs have to be looped too. That's why I said the escalator is a belt. When you see the steps flattening at the top and bottom of the escalator, they're actually just going down and underneath without changing their shape. In a few moments, or minutes, they'll re-emerge on the opposite end of the moving stairs. An escalator has several features that make it different from regular stairs. First, it moves. Duh. Thanks, Captain Obvious. Second, the steps of an escalator are broader to make them more comfortable to stand on. And third, they're taller to make it easier to step off them. You can see where the belt ends and prepare for the exit. Escalators also have ridges on their steps. Those serve two purposes. One is collecting liquid so that you don't slip on a rainy day, and the other is to make it harder for stuff to get between the last stair and the platform. You may notice there are similar grooves at the edge of the platform too. They interlock with the ridges on the steps, not letting anything get in between. That's why you might sometimes see trash lying there. It's filtered by the interlock grooves. Still, there's a small chance your shoelaces or pieces of clothing might get stuck in there, especially if the escalator is old. The gap might just be large enough to let something in. That's why there are two more safety measures. One is the edges of the steps being painted yellow. This color is easily seen on black or dark gray steps. And the other is the green light coming from beneath the escalator, between the steps, just as you're about to get off the belt. This light warns you that the step-off platform is near. So if you're blinded by its brilliance, it's time to stop reading that book. Another thing added for your safety is the brush along the side of the escalator. It's convenient to clean your shoes, but its purpose is actually for you not to stick your feet too close to the banister. Naturally, the moving stairs can't be always rubbing against the walls, so there's a gap between them. If a shoelace or a piece of clothing gets into that gap, it could end badly. Since most people aren't into a habit of looking down at their toes all the time, the brushes were installed right above the gaps. When you touch them with your shoes, you feel the friction and hear the noise, which alarms you to move a bit away from the edge. Finally, the speed of the escalator is also a kind of safety measure. Most of these mechanisms move at a crawl, and there's even the escalator etiquette in most countries. You stand on one side of the steps and let those who want to walk pass on the other. In fact, if the pace of the belt was livelier, there would be many more incidents. People would fail to react in time and walk off the stairs tumbling down. And if you ever tried to step onto a particularly rapid-moving escalator, you know it's quite a thrill in itself to catch the moment and hop on. Finally, sometimes operators have to stop the movement in an emergency. Even on a slow escalator, you have to tightly grip the handrail to keep your balance in that case. If it were moving fast, you'd most likely fail to take a hold and fall forward, or someone from behind would bring you down anyway. By the way, the handrails are so thick and made of rubber because they have to be electrically isolated not to shock you. And rubber is a material that not only doesn't conduct electricity, but also is resistant to wear and tear. Just so you know. Okay, you're falling off a cliff. You somehow didn't know about her boyfriend. Dang, you're in a tight spot. Time to break the way down into several parts. Try grabbing anything you see as you plummet – shrubs, trees, or rocks. This way, you divide a long fall into several short ones. With each new fall, the impact will decrease. If enough of the impact is absorbed, it means you've got a better chance of survival and another chance at love, but not with her. Same for if you drop out a window. Try to cling to anything on your way. It probably won't hold you, but at least you'll have several falling intervals to help decrease your speed. A canopy to stop you can be a real lifesaver, no matter if it's plastic or glass. It'll hurt either way, but you'll survive. Maybe. You also need to bend your knees a little. If bent, your legs will touch the ground simultaneously, and the consequences will be less severe. Another tip is that whenever you land, try to do so on the tips of your toes and never on straight and locked legs. Don't forget to cover your head with your arms. They will help protect your noggin, no matter if you land on concrete or in a puddle of mud. Now, quicksand is not as dangerous as shown in movies. If you get stuck in quicksand, dang, you're in a tight spot. First off, stay calm. Then, you're not likely to sink more than up to your waist. Toss away anything that makes you heavier – shoes, bags, even clothing. Wiggle your legs to create room for water. It'll help you get away. Your arms should always be up. Try floating, but not on your stomach. Move backward with small steps. Big steps are harder to take, so it'll take longer to get out. When you reach solid surface, roll out of that quicksand. Surviving a wild animal attack may be challenging, but a crowd of people is not any less dangerous. The crowd may move like a fluid, not letting you escape. If you're trapped between hundreds of people, dang, you're in a tight spot. Rule number 1 is not to stop. Stopping is the fastest way to fall. If you actually do fall, make an air pocket. Your arms should be placed above your face and chest, embracing them. If you manage to stay upright, as soon as you feel the surge coming, move with it and sideways at the same time. If you're lost in the wilderness and need to go fishing, you can use a can tab. Shape it in the form of a hook. Cut it at a slant and trim off the metal to make it look like an actual hook. The main thing is to create a sharp point. A can can also become a makeshift cooker. Take a can and cut out a hole from the side. Put some kindling inside and set it on fire. You can fry an egg on top of it. Dental floss can be super handy for surviving in the wilderness. First, use it as a fishing line together with a can tab hook. It can also serve as a clothesline stretched between 2 trees. It's thin, yet a single strand can hold up to 5 pounds. You can make a spear by binding a long stick and a knife together with dental floss. It's also quite flammable, so if you don't have any kindling to set larger pieces of wood on fire, try burning it. Dental floss can also be great makeshift shoelaces. A simple plastic bottle can make a very strong rope if you have a good knife. First, you need to find a small stump. It should have a diameter about the same as your bottle. Make a slit across the middle of the stump. Then cut a notch out of the stump large enough for your knife blade to fit inside. Cut off the bottleneck and make a small notch on its edge. Its width depends on the rope width you want. Place the edge of the bottle inside the center slit and put the knife in the notch in the stump with the blade towards the slit. Start slowly dragging the bottle through the slit. You'll see the bottle spin. As it spins, the blade will cut out the rope. You can use it to build a hut because it can secure logs really well. Now, a human can go several days without food, but there's no way we can survive without water. Water in the wild can be delicious sometimes, but if you feel like it's not safe to drink, you may need a makeshift water filter. Start with a fire. Boiling water may not be enough, so as soon as the fire ashes are cold, grind them to a powdery consistency. Don't use charcoal you randomly found in the forest. You never know what's in there. Then you need a plastic bottle. Cut off the bottom and make a hole in the cap. Turn it upside down, put in some charcoal, 3 inches are enough, and pour the water over it. The dripping water is ready to drink. To catch any excess charcoal, wrap the cap with a piece of clean cloth for extra filtration. Okay, you're getting hungry and you probably need to start a fire. Dang, you just don't have any matches or a lighter. Empty your pockets to see if you can make a makeshift fire starter. If you have a battery, probably the one from your flashlight, and a gum wrapper, that's enough. You need to cut a thin strip of the foil wrapper, yet long enough to connect the 2 ends of the battery. The middle of the strip should be slimmer than the ends. Get closer to the pile of dry grass, small logs, or even some paper, whatever you're going to use to start your fire. The foil strip will ignite in seconds, setting the kindling on fire. Mosquitoes are a real pain, and there are loads of them in the woods. You can make your own DIY repellent to keep those bad guys away. All you need is an orange, a lemon, or any other citrus fruit that's full of essential oils. Peel an orange and rub the peel directly on your skin, crumpling it a bit beforehand to make those precious essential oils come out. One more useful way of keeping mosquitoes at bay is to add a few orange peels to your tinder. While burning, the essential oils will release and frighten those pesky guys away. If you want to send a signal that you're lost and it's an emergency, cover 3 small fires with any green vegetation, like grass, and then cover it again with some wet fabric. You'll have big white smoke puffs. 3 puffs in a row means emergency. Adding some oil to your fire will turn the smoke black. If you don't have oil, use birch bark instead. Remember, the higher you start the fire, the better, so climb to a visible area. If someone has your hands tied together, dang, you're in a tight spot. The first thing to do is move your wrists to loosen that tie. Ropes can usually be cut through with friction against hard and sharp objects. If you're tied up with a zip tie, try to break it. Clench your fists, press the knuckles together, raise your hands above your head, and then bring them down sharply. The pressure will snap the tie. You may also try to slip out of the zip-tied knot. First, clench your fists. The wrists will go larger like this, widening the bonds. When you relax your hands, the bonds loosen, so you may slip out. Duct tape can be chewed through, or if you moisten it, it will turn softer and easy to loosen. You can even moisten it with your saliva. Crossing a water current may be more dangerous than it seems. When crossing, choose a straight and wide section. Before stepping into the water, check if the current's not too fast. Throw a stick in it, and if it moves faster than your average walking pace, consider crossing at a different location. Or you could just look around for a boat that's nearby. No need to be silly about it. Alright, so imagine, you're flying. Whee! But wait a minute, where's the airplane? A wingsuit? Parachute? Anything? Uh-oh, looks like you're 6 miles high and free-falling. So, is this it? Or is there a way to hack yourself out of this dire situation? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a sucker for a good life hack. But let's be real. A person's chances of survival when falling from a height of 35,000 feet are slim. Slim chance. By the way, why do slim chance and fat chance mean the same thing? Anyway, despite this poor outlook, you still have a glimmer of hope. You'll be surprised to know that if you were to stumble from the top of a tall building, you'd be in a much worse situation. But more on that here in a bit. To make you feel a little better about your odds, you can take a look at historian Jim Hamilton's book, Long Fall Survival – Analysis of the Collected Accounts. It lists over 200 cases of people falling from a plane without a parachute and living to tell the tale. But you can check that out once you're safe and sound back on the ground. For now, let's get back to your strictly hypothetical freefall. Right from the get-go, you'd probably pass out because there's not much oxygen when you're 6 miles up in the atmosphere. While your brain is on an oxygen-deprived sleep mode, you'd be falling like a sack of potatoes for about a mile. See you when you come out of it. While you're unconscious, here's an interesting tidbit about free falling. Earth's gravity is pulling you down and trying to accelerate you. On the other hand, like any moving object, you're facing air resistance, which is kind of a drag. No, really, this drag is increasing the faster you fall. At a certain point, usually within the first third of a mile or roughly 1,800 feet, these two forces become equal and acceleration ceases. It's called terminal velocity. You're falling at a constant speed of about 120 miles per hour, give or take depending on your weight, height, and the density of the air around you. And guess what? If you were falling from a skyscraper, you'd land with the same force as when you fall from a 6-mile height. But you'd only have 12 seconds to prepare for contact versus having approximately 3 minutes when falling from a plane from 35,000 feet. It doesn't sound like much, but it makes a world of a difference when it comes to your chances of survival. Okay, your brain is now getting enough oxygen, and you wake up from your mid-fall nap. Welcome back! So, there are two scenarios when you're falling from a plane with no parachute. The first is when you're free-falling with just yourself and the clothes on your back. The second way is to try and become a wreckage rider. This is what Jim Hamilton calls the lucky ones who manage to grab some wreckage of the plane and basically surf down to the ground on it. If you can do this, you'll double or even triple your chances of survival. And that's been proven by statistics. Since the 1940s, there have been 31 wreckage riders who survived, and only 13 of those who had to totally free-fall empty-handed. In 1972, Serbian flight attendant Vesna Vulovic incidentally broke a world record for surviving the highest fall without a parachute. At 33,000 feet in the air, the plane she was on exploded, and she fell that whole distance while being squeezed between her seat and a food trolley. She landed on a snowy mountain slope and slid down until she finally came to a stop. Vulovic did receive some serious injuries, but after several months in the hospital, she managed to recover. But let's say you don't find any wreckage to ride down on. Stay calm, it's not over yet. Here's another story to cheer you up. In 1943, American military pilot Alan McGee survived a 20,000-foot absolute freefall that ended with him crashing through the glass ceiling of the Saint-Nazaire train station in France. He made it out alive and lived to the age of 82. Okay, now that you can breathe normally and have 2 minutes before you land, you can enjoy the view. And you can move your body too. Sure, without a wingsuit, you won't be able to gracefully glide down like a flying squirrel. But you can use your arms and legs to steer yourself toward a safer surface, which is not water. Yep, when you're falling at 120 miles per hour from 6 miles high, water will feel like concrete. It's good only if the body of water is deep enough and you manage to protect your head from the impact. But if you've got no choice and there's nothing but water below, try to dive. Some say it's best to go in feet first with your legs straight and pulled tightly together, that's the key. Others swear you need to dive head first with your arms stretched above you and your fingers laced together. This will protect your head from the impact. Whatever you choose or end up having to settle for, vertical is best when it comes to deep water landings. Okay, so if water isn't the best option, or one at all, then what? Well, look for something that can soften the blow. A snowbank or a slope, a haystack, a big tree. Marshland is ideal since it's soft and swampy. Just watch out for the gators afterwards. If there's a town or village below, look for something big and flat, say a truck or camper. A tile or glassy roof is much better than a concrete one. Remember Alan McGee's glass roof landing. Now that you've chosen your target, you need to try and direct your fall. To slow down, spread your arms and legs apart, think flying squirrel. Throw your head back and straighten your shoulders. The goal is to make your body take up as much space as possible because it'll create more resistance to the wind so that you can maneuver your body and direction more easily. To steer right, lower your right shoulder and look to the right. The same goes for banking left to go left. If you need to go forward, you'll straighten your legs and arms while sweeping them back along your sides. To make your body move backward, straighten your arms out in front of you and bend your knees. These are familiar movements to those of us who have tried skydiving before. Yeah, it's fun. But you're not skydiving in this scenario. Just remember that no matter what the surface below is, you'll need to avoid landing on your head. Brain injuries are no joke, and it'll immediately set your chances of survival to zero. If you're falling with your head down and can do nothing about it, try to land on your face. Yep, it's not your day, is it? It sounds counterintuitive, but it's better than hitting the top or back of your skull. Now, right before landing, you have two more choices depending on who you ask. You can either maintain that spread eagle pose, or pull your legs together and keep your knees and hips tight. You better decide fast, your 3 minutes are up. Boom! Congratulations, lucky you! You're alive. You look like a pancake, but you're breathing. You survived! What are you gonna do now?
I'm going to Wally World.
No, really. If you landed in the jungle, I've got one more story of survival that should be of use to you. It was Christmas Eve in 1971, and 17-year-old Julianne Kepke was flying from Lima to Pucallpa in Peru right after celebrating her high school graduation. When her plane came up on some severe weather and was struck by lightning, the whole thing exploded right above the Amazon rainforest. After falling over 10,000 feet, Kepke, still strapped into her seat, hit the ground and passed out. When she came to the next morning, she found herself all alone in the jungle. She was pretty beaten up, but she could walk, and that's exactly what she did. So how on earth could this teen survive 11 days stranded in the middle of the Amazon? Well, maybe she was lucky in that she had a unique set of skills for a girl her age. Julianne's parents were both scientists. Her father was a biologist and her mother an ornithologist. They used to take their daughter with them to a research station deep in the jungle, so she knew about all the possible dangers and how to avoid them. She walked very slowly, feeling the ground with a stick so that a venomous snake wouldn't surprise her. She had no fire or warm clothes, drank rainwater, and had only some candies for food. She was too weak to try to catch fish or hunt, but she just kept walking along the river. Her dad always taught her, when you're lost, follow the river downstream to civilization. Keep that in mind if you ever find yourself in a similar situation. On the 10th day, she came across a small hut. Already exhausted, she decided to rest there for the night. In the morning, some fishermen found her in their shelter and took Julianne to the nearest village, where she was taken by helicopter to Pucallpa. The girl survived not only because she was lucky, but also brave and smart. She left the place of the accident and kept going. Anyway, I hope you won't ever have to put any of these tips to the test. But hey, if the topic ever comes up in conversation, now you know how to survive a 35,000-foot freefall. Me? Well, years ago, when I used to skydive and was traveling somewhere on an airline, I would always bring my parachute in the cabin with me. It was fun to provoke some wide-eyed looks from the other passengers. But I'd simply say, "I guess you haven't flown on this airline recently, have you?" and walk right on past. True story. Do you know any other tips on what to do in an extreme situation? Please share them down in the comments. And if you learned something new today, then give this video a like and share it with a friend. But hey, don't bail out just yet. We have over 2,000 cool videos for you to check out. All you have to do is pick the left or right video, click on it, and enjoy. Stay on the bright side of life. Hey, check this out. What to do if you fall through the ice. Alright, those of you in Florida or Honduras may not think you need to know this stuff, but I have 2 words for you: climate change. So you better listen up, buddy. You know, it's too easy to say that the best way to survive falling through is to not walk on thin ice or ignore warning signs in the first place. But accidents happen, and anyone can find themselves plunging into freezing cold water. And then hypothermia, panic, and sinking to the bottom are hard challenges to overcome. But it's not impossible to survive falling through the ice if you know several tips that can save your life. Number 1. What to do immediately after you've fallen in. Do not panic. Even after you've gone under pretty deep, the water will push you back to the surface. Try to stop your body's instinctive need to grasp frantically while you're in the water. Keep your head above water. You can do this by leaning back a little. If a backpack or your coat is pulling you to the bottom, get rid of it. But don't waste precious time getting undressed if your clothes aren't heavy. Plus, there might be air pockets inside that will help you stay afloat. Don't splash around. You'll lose much needed strength. Plus, it'll make unnecessary noise that will drown out your cries for help. Instead, make constant paddling movements with your legs, kind of like you're riding a bike. And of course, call out for help. Breathe as slowly and deeply as possible. It'll be hard to slow your breathing down since being in cold water makes you hyperventilate. But you've got to slow down your heart rate, which will be going 100 miles per hour due to the shock. After a couple of minutes, your body will get adjusted to the cold a bit, and the shock will wear off. Stay calm. Easier said than done, I know, but you have to avoid panic. Being calm and in control of your body will let you think more clearly that you can come up with a plan on how to get out of the water. Remember, you have more time than your terrified mind thinks. Hypothermia won't kick in for at least 10 minutes, and in some cases, as long as 45. Number 2. Getting out. It's easier to get out of the ice-cold trap from the way you got in. Ice around open water is extremely fragile, but the place where you'd been standing before falling is usually more solid, so find this place ASAP. Now, prop yourself up on the edge of the ice with your elbows and forearms. Try to pull your upper body onto the ice. Then, get the lower submerged part of your body into a horizontal position. Once you've done that, kick your legs as hard as you can to propel your body out of the water. This is actually the way seals do it. If that doesn't work, there is another approach. Pull your right arm up and out of the water and put it on the ice to use as footing. Then try to fling your right leg up onto the ice. You have to do it quickly and forcefully. That way, your center of gravity is shifted from the water to the surface of the ice. And one more way to get out of the water is to do it lying on your back. Place the back of your head on the edge of the ice and spread your arms out wide. Then kick your legs to propel your body out of the water. If you're still unable to get yourself out of the water after several attempts, stay put, like you have a choice, and wait for help to arrive. It's important to move as little as possible in order to conserve precious body heat and energy. The best way is to cross your legs and keep your arms out of the water. Remember that your body loses heat 30 times faster in cold water than it does in cold air. Number 3. Once you're out. Once you're out and back on the ice, do not try to stand up immediately. The ice can collapse again under your weight, and you might not have any strength left in you to go through that whole escape again. Instead, roll away from the open water as far as possible. Then crawl on your hands and knees or on your stomach in the direction you came from. You know how thick the ice is there, so chances are it'll hold you again. After you get to shore, don't stop. Run to the nearest warm place. That's right, run! It'll keep you from freezing into a human popsicle. Number 4. Warming up. As soon as you get to a warm place, take off your wet clothes, wrap yourself up in a blanket, and drink something warm. This drink should be sweet and non-caffeinated. Remember that once hypothermia has set in, you might not even feel cold but completely numb instead. Don't let this numbness fool you. So cover yourself from head to toe in a warm blanket and keep your feet off the cold ground. You can use hot water bottles or heating pads. If you do, put them close to main arteries, near your armpits, shoulders, and the groin area. Don't forget to have some cloth barrier between the source of heat and your skin so that you don't get burnt. Do not take a hot bath. It can cause shock or, even worse, heart failure. The process of warming up should be gradual. Now, if you can't get to a warm place fast, try to wring as much water as possible out of your clothes. Wearing wet clothing outside in freezing temperatures is as dangerous as walking around naked. Visit a doctor as soon as possible, even if you feel like you're completely fine after your icy swim. There still could be damage to your body. Number 5. If you see someone fall through the ice, don't run head first to the rescue. You won't help anyone if you become a victim yourself. Don't come up to the open water unless the person is about to lose consciousness and drown. If you have to approach, don't walk but crawl. This will reduce the impact of your weight on the ice. Your immediate reaction should be to call 911 and stay put. Don't leave the person who's in the water alone. Try to calm the victim down. Don't tell them to chill. It's not funny. Well, it might be. Try it out and see. Anyway, tell them all the information you know, and you'll know a lot after watching this video. Reassure them that they have enough time to get out of the water and instruct them on how to do it. In an ideal situation, you'll have a long object like a rope, a long scarf, a tree branch, or a stick that you can extend towards the victim. As soon as the person gets a grip on the object, you can start pulling. If you're lucky enough to have a rope, make a lasso on the end so that the victim can put it around their body. Make sure you're not standing on thin ice yourself as you pull the person out. Bend your knees, spread your weight as much as you can, and pull with all your strength. Even after the person is out of the water, drag them towards you. Don't approach or try to lift them. After the victim reaches you, not the other way around, warm them up immediately. If the person is in shock, they won't be able to eat or drink, remember that. Take the victim to the hospital as soon as possible. Even if they're out of immediate danger, they could have frostbite or other deadly complications.